Parents may compare for a variety of psychological reasons, and it is important to recognize that these motivations can be complex and multifaceted. Some common psychological factors that may contribute to why parents compare their children are as follows. To assess their child's growth. Parents frequently compare their child's developmental milestones, such as when they began walking or talking, to those of other children. This can assist them in determining whether their child is on track for development or if they require additional assistance. This isn't always about comparing a child to their peers negatively. It's often a natural inclination stemming from a parent's desire to ensure their child is making good progress. Parents use comparison as a developmental yardstick, examining other children's milestones to determine if their own children are on track. The analogy may not even be conscious. It may be a subtle, almost automatic process. Parents can simply observe other children, take note of their accomplishments or behaviors, and use that information to guide their own child's development. It functions as a mental checklist, assisting parents in determining whether their child is meeting expected milestones or if they require additional assistance in certain areas. In essence, parents want the best for their children, and comparing their development is one way to ensure they're providing adequate support and guidance. It is not always about competition or one-upmanship. Rather, it is a tool for understanding and responding to a child's specific needs. So, while it may appear to be an external judgment, it often stems from genuine concern and love for their child's well-being. To set goals for their child. Parents can set realistic expectations for their children by comparing their child's academic performance or extracurricular activities to those of other children. Parents frequently compare their children in order to set expectations for them. It's not always about imposing unrealistic expectations or attempting to fit a child into a predetermined mold. Instead, it's a natural reaction to parents' deepest hopes and dreams for their children. Parents may use other children's accomplishments or behaviors as benchmarks when setting expectations. This isn't done to force their child to conform, but rather to familiarize themselves with the range of options. Parents can form realistic expectations for their children by observing what other children achieve. This is not always a conscious or deliberate process. Parents may absorb societal norms and cultural expectations and use them as a guideline for what they expect their child to achieve. It's a way for parents to navigate the uncharted territory of parenting by establishing a framework for what success and achievement might look like for their child. Setting expectations through comparison is essentially a reflection of a parent's hopes for their child. It's a dynamic and ever-changing process that adapts as the child grows and demonstrates their own distinct strengths and interests. It is less about forcing a child to follow a predetermined path and more about guiding them toward reaching their full potential based on a parent's understanding of what is possible. To inspire their child. To motivate their child to work harder, parents may compare their child's accomplishments to those of other children. This can be effective in some cases, but it is critical to do so in a supportive rather than critical manner. Parents may use comparisons to motivate their children. It is not always about pointing out flaws or deficiencies. Rather, it can be a strategy to encourage improvement and effort. Parents hope to instill a sense of ambition or determination in their own child by highlighting the accomplishments or behaviors of other children. This motivation often stems from a parent's desire to see their child succeed and thrive. Parents may use positive examples in other children as motivational anecdotes when they notice them in their own children. It becomes a means of communicating to their child that he or she is capable of achieving similar feats or overcoming perceived obstacles. This motivational strategy is not always explicit or deliberate. It can be a subtle influence, with parents hoping that their child will be inspired to achieve new goals or overcome obstacles. The goal is to instill trust and belief in the child's abilities. While this approach can be effective, parents must strike a balance. Excessive comparison can cause stress and feelings of inadequacy in children. As a result, rather than setting unrealistic standards, the key is to frame comparisons in a positive light, emphasizing the potential for growth and improvement. Finally, the goal is to increase a child's internal motivation and ambition to achieve their goals. They want to feel better about their parenting. Parents may compare their children to those of others in order to feel better about their own parenting abilities. This is a risky comparison to make because it can lead to feelings of guilt and inadequacy. Parents may compare their children in order to feel better about their own parenting. It's not necessarily a reflection of their child's abilities or accomplishments. Rather, it may reflect the parent's need for reassurance and validation in their role as a caregiver. Parenting is a difficult journey that is frequently fraught with uncertainty and self-doubt. When parents observe other children who appear to be struggling or facing difficulties, they may feel relieved. My child is doing well in comparison to that situation, you might think. This comparison provides comfort and validation to the parent, alleviating some of the natural anxieties that come with parenting. This dynamic is not always conscious or deliberate. Although parents may not actively seek out opportunities to compare their children in order to validate themselves, it can become a subconscious coping mechanism. Parents may temporarily alleviate their own insecurities about their parenting skills by focusing on instances where their child appears to be thriving or outperforming others. While seeking reassurance is an expected part of parenthood, parents should be aware of the potential impact of this comparison on their child. Excessive comparisons, especially when communicated to children, can create an unintentional sense of pressure or competition. Maintaining a healthy parent-child relationship requires striking a balance between finding comfort in the positive aspects of parenting and fostering a supportive environment for the child. It is critical to remember that each child is unique and develops at their own pace. Comparing children to others can lead to feelings of inferiority, anxiety, and low self-esteem. Rather than comparing their children, parents should focus on celebrating their child's individual achievements and assisting them in reaching their full potential.